It's early morning at Leeuwarden Air Base, located in the Netherlands. A Royal Netherlands Air Force F-35A Lightning II is the first to taxi from the flight line and is making its way to the runway. The Dutch-operated supersonic stealth strike fighter is cleared for takeoff. Ready to follow the F-35A lead are Allied fighter aircraft lined up and waiting for takeoff instructions. The roar of dozens of Allied fighter aircraft engines filling the air is heralding loudly NATO's largest flagship air exercise is underway across Europe. Named as Exercise Ramstein Flag 25, it is orchestrated by NATO Allied Air Command, or AIRCOM. Involves close to 100 aircraft from 15 allies, flying from 12 air bases across Europe.
La mer Noire du Nord, elle est énorme, quoi.
Leeuwarden Air Base will take on the leading role and will serve as the hub. Although not specifically mentioned by AIRCOM, there appears to be no specific details released on the nominated aggressors during the exercise. However, there are two Air Force's fighter aircraft curiously absent from Leeuwarden Air Base. These absentees may give us a clue to which NATO fighters are nominated as the aggressor force. It's little known that 6 Spanish Air Force EF-18M Hornets were welcomed to RAF Marnum, including Spanish support personnel days before Ramstein Flag 25 exercises began on March 31st, 2025. Also absent from Leeuwarden Air Base are Royal Air Force Typhoon FGR-4. We know RAF Typhoon aircraft definitely took part in Ramstein Flag 25. Unfortunately, very few photos or video, if any, was released. Typhoon FGR-4 multi-role fighters were flown during Ramstein Flag 25 by one fighter squadron from RAF Lossiemouth and were air-to-air refueled by Voyager tankers. RAF 1 fighter squadron are reported as conducting high-end large force exercises from RAF Lossiemouth into Danish, Dutch and German airspace, in coordination with European air traffic control and tactical agencies. We do know that there are other fighter aircraft deployed across other air bases, either acting as an aggressor or a forward defence force. More on this shortly. Back here at Leeuwarden Air Base, the French Dassault Rafale fighter pilots have completed pre-flight checks and await clearance to taxi and take off. NATO Airborne Warning and Control System, or AWACS aircraft, were also deployed during Ramstein Flag 25, primarily operated from Gallakirchen Air Base, Germany. NATO's AWACS aircraft increased patrolling Allied airspace in Eastern Europe in the wake of Russia's attack on Ukraine in 2022. NATO's Boeing E-3A airborne warning and control system aircraft, seen here with its distinctive radar dome mounted on the fuselage, allowing the crew to survey an area of more than 313,000 square kilometres, roughly an area the size of Poland. These German Air Force Eurofighter EF-2000 Typhoons are the last of the fighters to take off at Leeuwarden Air Base, and will commence today's publicly undisclosed training mission. Air-to-air refueling tankers were essential in the AIRCOM exercise. These were Canadian CC-150 Polaris, French Airbus A330 MRTT, Italian Boeing KC-767, Turkish KC-135R, United States KC-135 Stratotanker, and of course the United Kingdom Voyager. The majority of the air refueling tankers deployed from RAF Lossiemouth, RAF Mildenhall, RAF Fairford and Eindhoven Air Base. They effectively covered air refueling demands above the North Sea. The tankers played a crucial role in supporting Ramstein Flag 25's complex missions, allowing fighter aircraft to stay in the air longer, reducing ground time and increasing effectiveness. Today, 4 Danish Air Force F-35A Lightning II from Denmark's fighter wing Skystrup will take part in Ramstein Flag 2025 exercises. It can be revealed during the exercise Denmark's Skystrup Air Base will be used as a forward NATO defence base and is hosting Italian Air Force F-35s and Hungarian Air Force Gripen fighter aircraft to boost its defence capabilities, and an indication of the great complexity of the Ramstein Flag 2025 exercises. The Danish F-35A will be air-to-air refueled by several nations' refueling tankers, including the first ever air-to-air refueling of F-35s by Turkish KC-135R aero refueling tanker, thus expanding NATO's ever-developing interoperability across all European NATO members' air assets. This footage, recorded at RAF Mildenhall, follows a US Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker aircrew from the 100th Air Refueling Wing conducting pre-flight checks. The refueling mission today is to air-to-air refuel Danish Air Force and Royal Netherlands Air Force F-35 Lightning II in support of Ramstein Flag 25 over the North Sea. The Danish and Dutch F-35s were refueled by the US Air Force KC-135 Stratotankers multiple times over several days. The US Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker has completed its refueling mission and returns to RAF Mildenhall. Above the skies of the North Sea, dozens of fighter aircraft pilots are training and integrating with a dozen air forces for a series of intense combat drills against a simulated foe. The simulated foe we think are possibly Spanish Hornets and RAF Typhoons, which have triggered NATO's Article 5. This is a key provision of the North Atlantic Treaty, stating that an attack against one NATO member is considered an attack against all. This has triggered a collective air defence response, where all member states are obliged to assist the attacked nation. It's late evening and fighter aircraft now begin to return at Leeuwarden Air Base. But this evening there are extra guests for the Dutch Leeuwarden Air Base personnel to host. Amongst the many arriving aircraft, almost unnoticed, are 4 United States Air Force F-35A Lightning II, which are forward deploying from the United Kingdom. The pilots, part of 48 Fighter Wing at RAF Lakenheath, United Kingdom, will make this their temporary base of operations during Ramstein Flag 2025. However, there is yet another twist to this complex exercise. Back at RAF Lakenheath, shown here on this increasingly crowded map, are forward deployed Turkish Air Force F-16C Block 40s and 1 Turkish F-16D Block 40 from 151 Filo, based at Merseyfon Air Base, and 3 single-seat Romanian Air Force F-16AMs from 48th Fighter Squadron, Campi Târziu Air Base. Both air forces have also deployed transport aircraft to RAF Lakenheath. In addition to air combat training, Ramstein Flag 2025 participants practice multi-domain warfare by integrating elements from land, maritime and special operations forces. Scenarios included neutralising long-range missile systems, executing ballistic missile defence strategies, and sharing real-time intelligence, all aimed at creating a coordinated response to aggressive opponents. The exercises, as seen here, also focus on nighttime operations to counter enemy air assets, launching nighttime air raids by enemy bombers, fighter aircraft, drones and helicopters. Another key mission focus during Ramstein Flag 2025 exercises was F-35 Lightning II interoperability between air forces. At Leeuwarden Air Base, US Air Force and Royal Netherlands Air Force maintainers performed F-35A Lightning II cross-servicing. It's a visible example of enabling collective forces to share resources and infrastructure, highlighting the importance of integrated logistics and F-35 maintenance training of an ever-increasing fleet build-up of these aircraft across Europe. Currently, the main European operator of these stealth aircraft are United Kingdom, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands and Norway. It is expected Belgium and Poland will receive their first in-service F-35s in 2025, with both Air Forces pilots receiving final stages of training in the USA. Switzerland, Germany, Czech Republic, Finland, Portugal, Spain, Turkey and Greece have or had initially selected the F-35. However, two countries, Portugal and Spain, appear to have withdrawn any intentions to buy F-35s. Turkey was removed from the F-35 programme in 2021 by the US administration due to Ankara's purchase of the Russian S-400 missile system in 2017. Even with some potential operators pulling out, on paper at least, it is forecast that 600 F-35s will be operated by European air forces by 2035. However, as a NATO force in Europe, a further 52 United States Air Force F-35A Lightning II aircraft permanently based at RAF Lakenheath would bring the numbers up to over 650. Although current European numbers of operational fighter aircraft are difficult to estimate due to near future aircraft retirements such as the older F-16s and Harriers and the slow introduction of 6th generation aircraft, it's likely by 2035 combined European Air Forces fighter jets will number 2,700, mostly modern or modernised fighter jet systems. Current estimates believe there are 3,312 fighter jets in European operation as of March 2025. As of April 2025, it is believed Russia has around 833 operational fighter and interceptor aircraft, a reduction of several hundred airframes lost since the 2022 invasion of Ukraine.
So this is bringing together 15 or so NATO nations, actually operating from this base and 11 others, practicing key high-end missions which we would have to do to defend Europe in any Article 5 confrontation, but most importantly to do the credibility and the capability that underpins our deterrent posture. NATO air power underpins the deterrence of Europe. It is one of the fundamental things since 1949, the protection of all those in European landmass and support of US and Canada, of course, through the air defence of Europe. But it's a bit more than that now as well. We always have to fight for and gain access to the air environment. That is vital, and it's been vital in warfare ever since the introduction of the aircraft. But more recently, one of the things we have to do is make sure we can get access for our sister land and naval forces into any terrain where an enemy would contest us or would seek to invade. So the air power contribution both to defence and securing access is vital. Well, what I'd like to say is you should feel assured, you should feel reassured. You've got 32 nations here, you've got 15 nations of high-end air power capability operating together to keep them safe, and that's the way we intend to keep it.
This large-scale and complex air exercise kicked off on March 31st, 2025. It concluded on April the 11th. This was only the second Ramstein Flag exercise. The last exercise took place in 2024 based in Greece. It's understood the Ramstein Flag 2026 exercise will be further expanded, but as of yet, no specific host base location details have been released. Thanks for watching.